esteemed guests, excellencies, all participants at this seminar. I will be short. I have only 5 minutes, and that's why I want to give you an overview of actually how IMO from a operational view is engaged in the fate of many seafarers worldwide. As we heard from Director Heike Dekkim, there are about more than 400,000 seafarers actually been affected by the COVID pandemic crisis. And so many of seafarers have been stranded or actually been restricted in their traveling, have difficulties with their conditions. It's to do with not be able to repatriate it. Crew changes are very difficult to substantiate, but also medical assistance can be of an issue. Many seafarers also have seen their contracts unilaterally being terminated or have been quarantined on board ships or on shore, and in many cases more than 2 weeks, and also cases where they're not getting paid. So a large number of seafarers, as well as their family, their spouses, have reached out to IMO to express their concerns and actually cry out for help. And that already started in March. And actually, they share their concerns with their sometimes very difficult situations created by the consequences of the COVID pandemic. We received these messages upfront, directly, and it's sometimes really shocking what you experience, but you try to help. So actually, it's very good that from the start of the pandemic, the Secretary General has set up the Seafarer Crisis Action Team, SCAT, to resolve individual cases. And doing that, we are directly engaged with seafarers. So it's really about the live issues. We work together also with other international organizations, such as the International Labour Organizations, ILO, International Transport Workers Federation, ITF, International Chamber of Shipping, and I see Mr. Kai Platon is also present, so he will also highlight about their experience and their views on how to solve the issue. But also we work with the national governments, and actually when there are requests that need to be handled and be solved, we engage ourselves with the permanent representatives at IMO, the NGOs, ITF, ICS, the International Maritime Health Association, IMHA, and this is all done by teamwork. We have a dedicated team with really people who are very dedicated to deal with these concerns, and that's the right way to do it, because you need to be motivated actually to be able to give a helping hand. Well, doing that, meanwhile, since March, IMO, the SCAT team, has been involved in more than 300 cases. And these 300 cases might mean that we directly have been dealing with some thousands of seafarers, because sometimes we have just one case dealing with 400 or 500 seafarers when there is a complicated cruise ship situation. But most of the cases are individual or representing a group of 10, 15 crew members on board, so a whole ship. But you can imagine it's just a fraction of the whole crisis that we have with 400,000 seafarers. But those that do come to IMO are all being handled, and yeah, in most cases we follow these concerns, and we try eventually to find a solution by building also a pressure on not only the shipping interest but also the member states who actually have these people in their jurisdiction. Some examples may be seen on the IMO web site. There is under Media Center Hot Topics a whole issue with seafarers that actually have been dealt with through the SCAT team. It might be a good thing to have a look at those cases when you have time to go there. I was also asked to enlighten somewhat about the resolution. The resolution 473 that was very recently on the 21st September being adopted through the Maritime Safety Committee meeting and all committee meetings, on which also the Maritime Safety Committee was part of, adopted this resolution. But it might be good that already from the start from the crisis, the industry and the trade unions had actually already invented some protocols that were actually being promulgated through IMO, and all of this can be found in the work concerning IMO Circular Letter 4204. And I would specifically refer to Addendum 6 to these circular letters, because there the Global Industry Association actually urged member states to designate professional key seafarers and marine personnel as key workers providing essential service. And that is quite key to this whole exercise. So also in the SCAT work, we immediately tried in our outreach to member states to point that it is essential that that seafarers are key workers and should be handled, should be dealt with like that. And also the professional seafarers and marine personnel should be granted any appropriate exemptions from national travel or movement restrictions. These two elements are also key to the new resolution. So it's a kind of reiteration and repetition of actually what we all try to achieve, that actually seafarers are be able to move and to be repatriated, to be crew changed. And that's key to the whole work, not only of SCAT, but also of all endeavors also in the political work. So that actually resulted in the adoption of the Maritime Safety Resolution. And apart from that, seafarers are being designated as key workers, and that member states are being urged to indicate them as such. Also, of course, the exemptions to restrictions of their movement should be considered by the member state, but also that seafarers who are in need of immediate medical care should be having those medical needs and care and facilities being granted. So that's actually in a nutshell the three elements that are very important in this work, and I would urge also the member states that are present in our seminar to take good note that seafarers are like other personnel that is actually trying to tackle the pandemic, are part of this as well, and should actually be treated on the same footing and without regard to the nationality. Because we see that some states are actually granting the exception to movements only to their own nationals, but it should be it should be widely being implemented. So yeah, there's still work to be done, but from an operational level, I would like to share these operational issues that we have engaged in our SCAT team. And it's teamwork, and it is actually the most rewarding experience that I had, because when seafarers, after for sometimes for more than 1 year, 1.5 years on sea, finally get home,